Peace, peace, peace. Peace, y'all. Peace, y'all. Peace. Yeah, man. I just wanted to bring it in the unofficial New Year because y'all do know that the actual New Year is not in January, but it's actually in more so July. You know, when the when we're in the sun and it's the summertime. You know what I'm saying? Because the sun dictates the weather, and the sun dictates the yearly cycle. So we gotta understand that it's based upon the sun. You know what I mean? Everything in the universe is based upon the sun. You know what I mean? Which is, of course, we know the original man, the black man, the mind. You know what I mean? The consciousness that pervades the whole universe. So I just want to come off today, and before I get into my build on today, which is we breaking down the chess. You know what I'm saying? The science of power. Ghost Book 2, and we're gonna go through it and break it down through a chess perspective, a mathematics, because you can see, say we got knowledge, we got the knowledge, the wisdom, understanding, the culture, power, equality, God, build a short. You know what I mean? And the most specific one we focusing on is P, which is power. 5, which is power in the mathematics. And in the alphabet, we know that P is power. Y'all hear that in the background? Bright light, city lights, I gotta make it. This is where it goes down. I just come from the come up hard. Lego over Lego, baby, I gotta make it. Bumps and bruises, I live, I learn. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just let that rock in the background right now, and y'all can hear certain things as I'm breaking down and going into, into that. But before I get into this right here, and I'm gonna basically get my mathematical, alphabetical chessboard breakdown on, what's going on in Power and Ghost, Ghost Book 2. And I might backdraft this back, you know, go back to some older episodes, but I'm mostly focusing on episode 9. You know what I mean, which is entitled Monster, and maybe the one before that. You know what I'm saying? What was that? Sex Week, I think. But anyway, so but before I get into that, I want to go back to breaking down the science on the so-called New Year. And like I was saying, the New Year is not in January because we know that the actual New Year actually begins in actually begins in like July. Where the sun is hottest. You know what I mean? Because the sun dictates the weather. The sun sets off the season. The sun is the cause. As they say, all the above is caused by the Son of Man. Pardon. Now, due to the so-called Corona pandemic that they got going on, they say they want everybody to be inside for this unofficial New Year, and they want everybody to stay inside so we can stop the spread of the virus and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the reason why I ain't even gonna get into all of that, but I'm just focused on the major topics so I don't go drift into that Corona shit, right? So I want to break down the science of the so-called the ball drop. We're going to see the ball drop. We're going to see the ball drop. See, because we got to know and understand that all of this is based upon the sun. You know what I mean? All of this is based upon the sun. And when they say the ball drop, they say they make the ball rise at 6 in the morning, and then it's supposed to drop. You know what I'm saying? As we counting down into the so-called New Year. But we got to understand what big ball of illumination rises in the morning, and specifically around 6 or 7 o'clock. Of course, we know the sun. So we got to understand that this is a ritual, y'all. I ain't going to say pagan ritual necessarily, but this is a ritual where they are actually anticipating the death of the sun. And we just passed another solar ritual that took place what we call in Christmas, which is actually the solar ascension of the sun, or the rebirth of the sun. The S-U-N, not the S-O-N, the S-U-N. And the science with that is that we know that from December 12th to the 24th, the sun starts to move to this lowest point in the southern region of the earth. You know what I'm saying? At least perceivably for 3 days. Peace, Supreme God. Bradley in the building. Peace to the God. Spring Valley get the first apple of the day. Peace to God. You know what I'm saying? So, we talk about the death of the sun. You know what I mean? When we go see the ball drop, that's really, or what they're trying to display as the death of the sun. But like I say, December 12th to December 24th, the so-called 12 days of Christmas, which represents the 12 disciples, or and then so-called Jesus supposed to be born on the 25th, but the reality is that Jesus is the so-called sun, the S-U-N, or Horus, Heru is the sun, because that's where they got it from. Heru is the sun, and Heru traveled with 12 men, just like they say Jesus traveled with 12 men, but the sign says Heru, or Jesus is the sun, and the sun travels through the 12 constellations. So the 12 days of Christmas is so-called representing the 12 disciples, or the 12 days, or the 12 constellations that the sun travels through. Peace to Mark Heath in the building. I ain't build with you in a minute, God. Peace to the God. You know what I mean? We definitely gonna link up, God. I'm out here in Oasis. You already know where I'm at, God. If you trying to slide through, you know what I mean? Come check me. Peace, God. But so the science is the so-called death of the sun, right? And then okay, now the 3-day death, right? They say on December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, the sun is perceivably seeming to bring a shadow upon the earth in the southern region. And to the ancient people, they said that was a 3-day death of the sun. So what did Christianity do? Christianity got the story, the ancient story, and they try to make it literal with the story of Jesus and say he died on a cross for 3 days and it was resurrected. Science is that when the sun is doing this 3-day death or 3-day shadow period, it's dwelling in the constellation known as the Crux constellation. And in the Crux constellation, it's designed where you see 4 major stars that make a shape of like a cross. You know what I'm saying? And the word crux means death, or you could say cross. Crux is cross, as in crucifixion, crucifixion. This is dealing with the Crux constellation that the sun resides in during the so-called 3-day death. Then on December 25th, the sun rises 1 degree, bringing back light to the planet in that region of the earth, and symbolizing a rebirth of the sun. So this happens every year. It's called the winter solstice. Type this, Google that. I want to Google everything. Google that. It's called the winter solstice. And you have a summer solstice as well. You know what I mean? Showing the polarity and whatnot, you know what I mean, of the earth and everything. But you have a summer solstice and as well, you know what I mean? But this one I'm talking about is called the winter solstice, when the so-called sun dies for 3 days, perceivably, and then rises 1 degree, and then represents a resurrection of the sun. So hence they said in the mythology, Jesus died on the cross for 3 days and was resurrected. You know what I mean? So that's a symbolic story of the astrological event known as the winter solstice that takes place every year. So while we celebrating the so-called birth of some white man called Jesus, that's not even the reality. The reality is the rebirth of the sun, the S-U-N. You know what I mean? In the universe, not the black, not necessarily the man on earth. I mean, yeah, it is too, because you go with the history of Horus and so forth, and that that ceremony they also practiced and gave reverence to with the birth of Horus, which was said to be born on December 25th. So, it's a lot of symbolic science in all of this as well. You know what I mean? And some literal. And the literal science is that, that's why I said I post on my thing on the 25th, I said, peace to all my solar messiahs. You know what I mean? Peace to all the messiahs out there. You know what I mean? Because we are the solar messiahs. You know what I mean? The solar messiahs. The solar savior. The save self, and then we can assist others in saving themselves, or show them the way, show them the guide. That's why so-called Jesus said, "I'm the way, the light, and the truth, the way, and the light." You know what I mean? I ain't gonna get all start preaching on you now, but anyway. So yeah, so now this event that they do on the so-called New Year, which is the unofficial New Year, like I say, because we know the New Year, the real New Year is in the summertime when everything is in the sun, because we know that new birth, the trees start growing back, the leaves start growing, the grass is green, everything starts to rebirth and grow in the summertime. That shows life. That shows new life being recycled and renewed. That's the New Year. You understand? When life, nature is showing you what the actual New Year is. They tell you the New Year is dead in the middle of in the wintertime when ain't nobody going outside and it's cold as hell. So it's like, you know what I mean? Nah. That's due to the Gregorian calendar and a westernized mentality and fitting into their economic schemes of how they design their holidays to be around a specific time, because they know that there's a solar energy in the universe that's also going around this time that creates a lot of creativity and energy and flow and things of that nature. And they manipulate that energy with the people. They tell you, oh, you're in a Christmas spirit around this time, so go out and go shopping and spend that money. You know what I'm saying? You're in the Christmas spirit. Go and buy those Christmas gifts and spend all that energy, all that currency, all that money back into the system. And then your ass gonna be broke coming up in the so-called New Year, which you thought was the New Year, but you're gonna be broke coming into that New Year because you spent up all your money on these fictitious holidays and foolishness. But as black people, we don't want to celebrate Kwanzaa. Why not Kwanzaa? Not only because black people are ignorant of our African ancestry, but also because the principles of Kwanzaa require you to actually do something. Cooperative economics, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Community, community cooperation, people coming in together to do things, you know what I'm saying? So it takes us to come together, not just come around the Christmas tree and be all fake and jolly and get some presents on so-called Christmas, but actually practice something that's going to bring us together as a people. So actually the principles of Kwanzaa, you know what I'm saying, which is faith. I would rather say knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Knowledge always is superior to faith, but you know what I'm saying? Unity, purpose, you know what I mean? Cooperative economics, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. So these are the type of principles. If we practice these principles, we will come together. In fact, we can practice those every day of the week. Matter of fact, coming up for 2017 to 2017. Wow, I'm bugging. I got the number 7 because the 7 principles of Kwanzaa in my mind. But anyway, for 2021, we're gonna practice the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. We should try to practice that every day. You know what I'm saying? If we can, just like we practice mathematics every day, we can make Kwanzaa like a thing that we practice every day of the week. You know, say each principle every day of the week. Not just around this so-called holiday time. We can apply that. If we apply Kwanzaa principles throughout the whole year, we be doing way much. Yo, De Blasio was on TV this morning. Y'all seen anything on TV? De Blasio trying to give his little speech, talk about Kuumba, today's principle, Kuumba, creativity, and whatever, da da da. And I'm like, and he's like trying to say the principles. Oh, Kwanzaa is a great thing, and that would also help us come back together, and da 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 da. Then right after that, and I was like, okay, see, and this is where they always try to trick you. They try to make it sound like they're saying something good. Then here comes the trickery. Then he goes right after that. Oh, we're really focusing on these vaccines and the numbers, and we're really going to try to get to the communities that have really been affected by the COVID, and that. See, here I go with the COVID shit again. But it's really important because it's a lot of lies, y'all. Every day they got lies they telling y'all, and I'll be trying to just keep y'all aware of this bullshit, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all game. You know what I'm saying? They running game every day. So anyway, oh yeah, he's like, oh, and then so now after he got you all caught up and riled up as black people, like listening to him trying to acknowledge Kwanzaa and all of that, I'm like, okay, yeah, the white nation now Kwanzaa, and he even talked about how he got a biracial son and all of that, and how he's gonna do something about racial profiling and da da da. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, that's good, De Blasio, that's good, all right, that's peace. But also, the trickery was, so now, oh, let's focus on these vaccines and da da da. So now that he got you all wrapped up and emotional and all like, oh yeah, yeah, that's right, he's talking some real shit. That's real talk, real talk. Then here come the vaccines and blah blah blah. We're really gonna try to reach out to the communities that have really been affected, so-called black and brown communities, right? Because they try to say we've been affected by this COVID shit more than anybody else. Bullshit. That's their lie, so that now when they come with the vaccines, they can target us with it. You know what I'm saying? I keep my lungs corona free on the daily. Corona free. Nah, but anyway, you know, what you trying to say? Weed the cure for corona? Nah, I'm just trying to say that, you know what I'm saying? My lungs is gonna be, nice and herbalized, you know what I'm saying? Rather than you know, virus vaccinated and virus stuff, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I wanna get back into power also too, but so yeah, going back to what I was talking about originally. This so-called ceremony of the ball drop, this is actually what they call the death of the sun. You know what I'm saying? This is the death of the sun. It's symbolic. Because like I say, they say it's gonna rise, they're gonna put the ball up at 6 in the morning, like the sun rises in the morning, and then they're not gonna let it rise at the drop at the regular time because we're bringing in the new year, right? So we're gonna do this at nighttime when the poles shift. When we're going from so-called night and we're shifting over into the next day or whatever. So that specific time is a transfer of energy, y'all. You know what I mean? And they want to get everybody together and chanting and raving and ranting about the ball dropping. But symbolically, we not realizing it subconsciously, they're getting you to cheer on the death of the sun, the falling of the sun. And like I say, they do this at nighttime because they want to eliminate the light and leave you in the dark. See what I'm saying? Did you catch that? They want to eliminate the light and leave you in the dark. So after we, 3, 2, 1, New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Now, what we don't realize is that, the ball just dropped. So what was that symbolic of? And is dead at the time of night, right? Right when the energy shifts over, right? So now, what is that to say? We're all cheering on the death of the light that's going to sustain us. That light, you know what I'm saying, is the light of the sun, which sustains us. So if that light dies, which it will never die, but like I say, subconsciously, they're trying to get you to cheer on the death of something that is so vital to you. You know what I mean? So then you will replace that with God in the sky, the mystery, beyond the clouds, beyond the stars. He's out there, just watching over you. And every move you make, every step you take, he's watching. Man, get the fuck out of here, nigga. Sound like the police. Remember that song back in the days? And did y'all know the name of that group that sang that song? I'll be watching you. The name of that group was called The Police, and then on their album cover they had the eye, the pyramid, and the eye, the Illuminati, so-called Illuminati eye, and all of that. Because we know that that's the eye of Horus, or the eye of Amun Ra, which is the all-seeing eye. So we don't mistake that and try to say, oh, Illuminati and all this other bullshit. Because anyway, the word Illuminati means illumination. You know what I'm saying? Which is the eye, the third eye, the pineal gland. And once you get the knowledge of yourself and you come into the realization of who you are, that third eye becomes awakened or enlightened. It becomes illuminated. That's why it's based at the top of the pyramid. The base of the pyramid is symbolic of that cap, that cap they put on your head when you graduate. And the gown is all black because it represents your graduation or ascension into the higher realms of consciousness or knowledge, which is the black universe. That's why the tip of the pyramids is aligned with the star. And if you look on the back of the dollar bill, you got this pyramid, and if you see, you got 12 steps on the pyramid, then there's a little hyphen or a little space, and then there's the 13th capstone. That little space in there, if you ask me, that's symbolic. You go from 1st to 12th grade, then you take a little break off, and then you go to 13th grade, which is so-called college. And in college, you could get a what degree? A master's degree. Because M in the alphabet we know is master, and master is the mind. And through education, we say you reach for the stars through education. So that's why the tip of the pyramids is aligned with the stars, showing and proving that through your knowledge and understanding you master all things. And in ancient Kemet, what we call Egypt, in order to become a master, you had to be skilled in 12 sciences. And you yourself being an exemplary of those 12 sciences, you be the 13th, is like saying that you are the master. So hence Jesus having 12 disciples, him being the 13th, he was the master, the son, the all-seeing eye. Horus having 12 men he traveled with, him being the master, the 13th. You know what I mean? The Father Allah was in temple number seven, and he was known as Clarence 13X. 13 we know is knowledge and understanding, or as we could say master, and X is the unknown. He mastered the unknown. You know what I'm saying? And that was developing the supreme mathematics, supreme alphabet, to give us the realization of who we are, so our mind could transcend into the universal consciousness, the black universe, and gain that knowledge of self, that the original black man is God, the supreme being of the universe, the supreme consciousness, because man means mind. You know what I mean? So now that I went on that mathematical tangent, let me bring it back. So like I was saying about the death of the sun. So when the ball drops, when we acknowledging the ball drop, that's the death of the sun. Symbolically, so all these white people that cried around and died, and black people too now, because we just join whatever white people do, all their holidays and ceremonies and pagan ceremonies. We just join in, not even knowing what the hell we doing. We go to church talking about we practicing communion, but we don't know that that's a form of cannibalism, where you say you're going to drink the blood and eat the body of Christ. If I told you, yo, come over for dinner, we about to drink this, I killed somebody, we about to drink his blood and eat his body. But since I believe in Christ, we're going to sacrifice this person in the name of Christ. So when we eat and drink of this body, it's not cannibalism. This is communion. I'm a very religious person. Come over. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, that's some BS. She'd be like, hell no, nigga, I ain't come over your fucking house. You crazy. But you'll go to church and symbolically drink that little grape juice and eat those crackers and say, we're drinking the blood of Christ and eating the body of Christ so we can become one. No, didn't Jesus say become one through the word? He who believes in me shall have ever life. I'm the way, you know what I'm saying, the truth and the word and all of that. Like, no, you get it through the word, not through drinking some damn blood and eating the body. That's cannibalism. But y'all don't hear me though. Well, y'all don't see it like that because no, what are you talking about? That's I'm in church and it's communion and what are you talking about? That man, you're crazy. You're just a conspiracy guy. Everything is always something. Oh, come on, man. And you're like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Stop that. Get out of that damn church because that's the house of the 10%. See what I'm saying? If I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there to teach. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going there to clap my hands and yeah, praise the Lord, nigga, I am the Lord. So who am I praising but myself? And if you read, oh my gosh, I'm going so much into that again. The ball drop. So now, actually, before I get into power, because I'm about to go into power, actually.
We're lawyers. In fact, I work for Tasha Green. You remember Tasha, don't you? Yeah, I used to be a customer at her daycare. You work
But yeah, being that it's a so-called new year, I wanted to drop that jewel on y'all. You know, and deal with that science. So and you know what too? This also falls into the whole scheme of power because knowledge, right? The whole science is that they were trying to take down the sun, which is the king, which is who they call it, Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Ghost on the show is the king. You know what I'm saying? And he was killed by his own son. You see what I'm saying? He was killed by his own son. Tariq. Yeah, his own son, Tariq. And that's why all these detectives, they trying to go around and...
No idea Tariq was there until right before it got raided by the feds and she had to shut down. I don't know Tasha's ex and I don't know what he knew.
Trying to get her to snitch. And knowledge, and I'm going to get into that too, but it's the relationship with Method Man and Sax. It's like God and devil making a deal. And as you always know, the devil ended up double crossing Meth in the end. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're gonna get into this power scheme, this power situation. Now, remember when Tariq said when he was breaking down who he was dealing with, which was the Tejada family, and he was breaking down. He said, he said Cain is the rook, Drew is the knight, Diane is the bishop, and Monet is the queen. And who is Monet's king? Monet's king is Lorenzo, who's in prison right now. Now, my major focus is gonna be on Tariq, and the reason why I put Tariq in front of this, this is Tariq because Tariq is the spawn or the soldier of his father, which would be Ghost, but he killed his father or dropped the ball on his father, killed the son, and was pushed by the mother. You know what I'm saying? Was pushed by the mother to do so. You know what I'm saying? Tasha. So Tasha told her son, her pawn, to kill her king. Told her son to kill the father. You know what I mean? And fucked up the whole Trinity, the whole man, woman, and child Trinity, which is power. You understand? Now, I'm not saying, now we know they're dealing with drugs and all that stuff in the situation, but I'm just breaking down the mathematics on the situation. You know what I'm saying? And the science of all these multiple situations that went on in this. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm gonna be here for another hour going through this shit. But here we go. So like I was saying, I'm gonna just break down the science through different characters. So now, okay, and say we're gonna start with Lorenzo, right? Or matter of fact, we got to start with Ghost because Ghost is actually the like I say the originator or the son of it all. He's the SUN of it all. He started it all off. So Ghost right here would be the son. He had, his children. He had his queen. He had his bishop, which was Angela Valdez in this sense. That was his and a bishop. See, a bishop plays the role of a spiritual advisor. You know what I'm saying? Um, the knight plays the role of like law enforcement, and it's also the knight so it can hop over things. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get into the reason why it has that quality in a minute, or characteristics of that quality. The rook is the garter of the castle. It is a castle, and it goes straight up and straight down. You know what I'm saying? Its movements and how it does. You know what I'm saying? Now, Lorenzo being the king, right? The king can only move at one space at one time, and he's like surrounded by everybody else. If in some kind of sense you could say he's trapped. You know what I mean? But he is the sun, and everyone around him is his planets. His Earth is his queen, which is his most powerful planet. But we're gonna take it from perspective of empower. So now Lorenzo right now, he's in a box right now. He's in jail. But understand a king can rule from his throne. He doesn't necessarily have to be all over the board doing everything. This is why, a boss has workers, you know what I'm saying? Because he ain't going to be running around doing everything. He used to do that when he was a little foot soldier. But now that he's grown and he's a king, he don't got to do all of that. So now it's about you having the power to alter or manipulate in a good or a bad way your power through the other pieces around you. And this is the whole science of power, is that everybody's actually trying to be a king. You know what I'm saying? And as some people think, to be a king you have to kill a king. You know what I mean? So the object of chess is that, you know what I mean, you coming for the king. You know what I mean? You using all your pieces as your means to do so. So Lorenzo, Ghost, right? Let's go back to Ghost real fast for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Ghost, you know what I'm saying, had this thing going on. He had his queen, he had his spiritual advisor on one side, which was Angela. And she was helping him out, giving him advice as far as, because she was fucking with the feds and all of that, so she was able to give him info. And he also had, well, you could say more so on this side, because this is Queen, and then Angela would be on this side. You know what I'm saying, from perspective. And then Tommy right here would be his right hand man. Tommy was also a spiritual advisor, so Tommy played the role of Ghost's bishop as well. You know what I mean? Sometimes he would use Tommy as a rook to go and handle things. You know what I'm saying? Or as a soldier to go and do certain things, and so forth and so forth. So, and Tariq, you know what I mean? He was trying to show his son, you know what I'm saying, the right way. But his son, see, this is what a lot of sons get caught up in, is that sons, if the father is not showing them the type of emotional stability, not like a mother could, but as a father could. You know what I'm saying? And Ghost was running around a lot of times, so maybe he ain't have the time to do that. You know what I'm saying? So Tariq maybe felt neglected in that sense, that he clinged toward his mother. So then when he clinged toward the mother was giving him her feminine energy, and also from a perspective of her being upset with Ghost because of the stuff they was going through in a relationship. And this is why I always say, women and men, we have to understand and rightly divide the difference between husbandhood and fatherhood and husbandhood, and motherhood and wifelyhood, because you know what I'm saying, the qualities of a man as a father may be greater than his qualities as a husband. Like, let's say he's not that of a faithful husband, quote unquote, but he's a great father to his son. He still loves his children. You know what I'm saying? And just because, and not saying just because, but in the situation that he may be having not a good vibe with the queen, he still has love for his children. But a woman will be emotional and try to take the children away from the situation because she wants to raise them in her anger and her strife and her ignorance and her mixed emotions. She wants to take him away from this man who's so bold and dominant and has such a presence on the child or the children. So she'll take them out of that situation so that she can feel like she's raising them and she's teaching them how she wants them to see things, and so forth, which is a lot of half-truths a lot of times, y'all already know. And y'all can see she didn't push this boy to kill his own damn father, so it ain't like I'm sitting here trying to, he's trying to bash on the woman, or no, y'all know what the situation is. And this is why the king and the queen have to be most powerful of all to keep shit together. So when all, that had went bad, you know what I mean? Now, Tariq, after he killed his father, he dropped the ball on his father, thinking he's going to be the new rising sun. And now Tariq is realizing, too, that that's like his father told him, which was very important. Some of the most important words ever. Ghost told him, said, after you do this, there's no going back. You can't go back after you do this. If you do this, you can't take this back. You know what I'm saying? So now Tariq is regretting so much. Like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. But now that I did it, he got to keep moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, in chess, like, if you lose a piece, or if this happened, you still got to keep going on. So, but now he's in a place of, as they say in the thing, spiritual darkness, and he's becoming a monster. And then the girl Effie he's dealing with is trying to get him, or made him realize who he was. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get into that in a little minute. But so now let's think about speed it up to a little bit now. Matter of fact, I gotta bring it back, y'all. I'm gonna come back on part 2, y'all. Peace.